Thank you,
Today,
Sayālay.
yes, today, December the 10th. Yesterday, I started to explain about Appamāda. And today, I will continue to explain Appamāda. Appamāda means not lacking mindfulness. Sati apvipavasa, not lacking mindfulness, not negligent. So in order to explain Appamāda, firstly, we'll explain Pamāda, which is the opposite. Pamāda means negligence, lack of mindfulness. So in the Pamāda, there are three kinds of Pamāda, three kinds of negligence. The first one is negligent in refraining from ducharita, negligence in refraining from wrongful conduct. And this is the gross form of Pamāda. The medium form of Pamāda is negligence, letting the mind go free on sense objects. This is the medium form of negligence. And refined form of Pamāda is when one is performing wholesomeness, one doesn't do it respectfully, meticulously, stopping, gaps in between, not continuous. Such kind is refined form of Pamāda. So in order to explain Appamāda, not lacking mindfulness, at first Pamāda has been explained so that by explaining the opposite, one will understand better. For example, handsome person, beautiful person, himself, herself, it may not be obvious that the person is handsome or beautiful, but when compared to someone who is not good looking, then the person who is handsome or pretty, it is more obvious how the person is more good looking when compared to a person who is the opposite. So in this way, in order to explain Appamāda, it is better to explain Pamāda, which is just the opposite, so that Appamāda will be better understood. In Vipanga, Pamāda is explained as Tathāgatamo Pamādo, Kaya Duchariteva, Vaci Duchariteva, Mano Duchariteva, Panchasuva Kama Gunesu, Chaitasa Vasako, Vasaka Nupadana, and so on. So as in the three kinds of Pamāda, the first one, the gross kind of Pamāda, is Chaitasa Vasako, means letting the mind go freely on these wrongful bodily conducts, wrongful verbal conduct, and the mental misconduct. Letting their mind go free and Vasakanupadana. After doing wrong, one doesn't stop there, but without control, repeatedly, again and again, let the wrongful things be done repeatedly again and again. So it is the gross form of Appamāda. Kaya ducharite tesu. Yeah, kaya ducharita are the physical misconduct, bodily misconduct, killing, stealing, sexual misconduct. These bodily misconduct, Caitasa Vasako, letting the mind go freely on these bodily misconduct, and then repeatedly again and again committing these wrongdoings. It is the Appamāda, negligence. As a Buddhist, we need to refrain from such misconduct. Killing, one may think that I am not killing, but one should take care so that his or her action will not make others kill. For example, when somebody is doing a restaurant business, for example, one has to take care. If the person's ordering meat, if one is ordering abundance of meat, if the order will be making the butcher more, like if one has to order fresh meat in abundance, if this order would have made the butcher to butcher more. So in this way, one has to take care so that one is not breaking the precepts. So one has to just choose the option of readily available. And also when going to restaurant, for example, some people like to have fresh meat or fresh seafood. So if you go in, if the person go into the restaurant with a tank of live lobsters and fish, and if the person just choose the one to be cooked for dinner from the tank of live fish and lobster, it also is breaking the precept. So in this way, one has to be mindful, careful, so that even though one doesn't kill, but one also is not making others to kill because of one's order. And stealing also, even though one may think that one is not stealing, but when doing business, one should be careful, like charging, instead of charging a reasonable price, if one overcharges or making overprice on a product, then it is also breaking the precept. So also one should be mindful not to be negligent, so that one will not be overcharging instead of a reasonable price, or one should take care to pay the correct amount of tax and so on. And sexual misconduct, not having adultery with other people's spouse. One should take care not to commit such relationship with other people's spouses and so on. So in this way, one should be mindful. One should not be negligent in terms of one's bodily actions. So Appamāda means being negligent, letting the mind go freely on these misconduct, and then not stopping there, not controlling oneself, and repeatedly again and again committing such wrongful action. It is Appamāda. And if there is Appamāda, committing wrongful action, not stopping, not controlling, and repeatedly committing wrongful action, the person is polluting oneself as well as hurting others. So as a human being, one has the responsibility to control oneself so that one is not hurting others. One has the responsibility to protect others from being hurt by controlling oneself. So it involves Appamāda. It involves mindfulness. It involves non-negligence, heedfulness, so that one will be avoiding such wrongful action. And Vici Duchari Tesu, the verbal misconduct, lying, slandering, harsh speech, senseless talk. These are the verbal misconduct. If one is letting one's mind go freely to commit verbal misconduct and doesn't stop, doesn't control, repeatedly, again and again, commit these verbal misconduct, it is Appamāda. So one has to be mindful. That should be Appamāda. One should be mindful not to be speaking such wrongful speech. One should take care so that whatever one speaks should be of truth. It should be the kind of speech that doesn't produce hatefulness among others. One should talk only polite words, politely, and whatever one talk, it should be of value that is not sensible. So in this way, there should be Appamāda, mindfulness, heedfulness, non-negligence, so that his or her speech will be pure and clean, so that one's physical, verbal behavior is pure and clean, as well as one will not be hurting or harming others. And Mano Docharita, mental misconduct. It is not arising in the body or speech, but in the mind. Abhijja, wanting other people's belongings by force, wanting to take others people's property unlawfully. it is abhijja. Vyabhada, the ill will, wanting to hurt others, wanting to torment others. Vyabhada. Micca ditti, wrong view, that good deeds do not bring good results, bad deeds do not bring bad results. And when one dies, there is the end, nothing after death. So in this way, the wrong view. So these three are the mental misconduct. Letting the mind go freely on these mental misconduct, not having control repeatedly again and again, let the mind be polluted by these mental misconduct. It is Appamāda. And such mental misconduct should be avoided from arising through this mindfulness practice. One should be mindful. One should be heedful so that such kind of mental misconduct will not arise. So when the yogi is noting whatever object that is obvious at the present moment, rising, falling, sitting, touching, and so on, at the moment, one is being mindful of the object, discerning the object that has been noted. Such kind of mental misconduct will not arise. One will be removing this mental misconduct moment by moment by being mindful, by discerning the object. Having Appamāda, observing one's precepts, one's morality, one's physical, verbal behavior are clean, and thus one will not be committing physical misconduct, verbal misconduct. But in order to overcome the mental misconduct, it involves mindfulness, meditation, practice. So by being mindful, concentrated on the object of meditation, such kind of misconduct cannot arise. At the moment, one is being mindful. At the moment, one's mind is concentrated on the object that has been noted, such as rising, falling, sitting, touching, and so on. And discerning the object by cultivating knowledge, by being cultivating knowledge on the object that has been noted, one removes this mental defilement, weakening them moment by moment. The medium form of Appamāda, Panchasu va Kamagunesu, Cetasa Vasako Vasaka Nupadana, meaning letting the mind go freely on sensual objects, not controlling the mind repeatedly again and again. Let one's mind go freely on these sense objects. It is the medium form of Appamāda. In daily life, people enjoy seeing good things, hearing good sound, movie, music, smelling perfume, eating favorite food, and enjoying bodily touch. So these are the sensual objects, the things to be seen, hear, smell, taste, and touch. These are the essential objects that captivate the mind of the person. So they are called kama guna, the sense objects. They captivate the mind. As a lay person, making use of such sense objects, enjoying them, the things of your own that you enjoy, one is not breaking the sila, one may think that it is not so bad. But actually, the tanha, the craving, the attachment on this sense object, it is defilement, kilesa defilement. In the meditation practice, during the retreat, one must take care, one must be mindful, there should be Appamāda, so that the mind doesn't go onto these sense objects. So in the intensive meditation, while the yogi is on retreat, yogi has to be mindful so that his or her mind will not be thinking about these pleasant objects that one had in the past, or the pleasant objects that one is wanting. In this way, yogi should be mindful not to let one's mind go freely on these thinking about the sense object, not being mindful, not controlling, not letting the mind to have control repeatedly again and again, thinking about pleasant objects to see, smell, to see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and so on. So that's why, in order to avoid the mind from thinking of these sense objects, yogi should be preventing with mindfulness, being mindful of the present object, rising, falling, sitting, touching, and so on. During the walking meditation, lifting, moving, placing, so long as the mind is on the object that has been noted, the mind doesn't go thinking about these sense objects. In the intensive practice, when the yogi is going from one place to another, yogis are advised to keep the eyes down, looking only about 6 feet ahead of where you are going so that you don't step on anything. And while walking, the mind should be on the foot that is making the step, right, left, when you are going from one place to another. But if the yogi is not mindful, if one looks up, then yogi might see the flower, and then not being mindful, looking at it, yogi might like the flower. In this case, because there is lack of mindfulness, not keeping the eyes down, not being mindful, looking at the flower, liking the flower, it is also letting the mind go free on sense object of flower, seeing this visible object, flower, liking it. So in this way, it is Appamāda. So not being mindful, not keeping the eyes down, yogi see the flower, and still the mind got freely on this sense object of beautiful flower. And still, if it doesn't stop there, yogi think this flower is beautiful, it is this flower, and so on. So not only Chaitasa Vasako, but Vasakanupadana. not letting the mind control, but seeing, enjoying without any mindfulness. It is Appamāda. In order not to let it happen, yogis should keep the eye down, pay attention to the step, right, left, right, left. Even if you smell the fragrance of flower, do not pay attention. Just keep the mind on the foot, right, left, right, left. So it is just an example. And the refined form of Appamāda is that when one is practicing meditation, practicing mindfulness, if one doesn't practice this mindfulness with respect, if one doesn't practice continuously, during this retreat, yogis are asked to note every arising object that comes obvious. But if the yogi is not noting the object properly, not paying the mindfulness, not being mindful of the object respectfully, gaps between the mindfulness, one time, two time yogi note, and then another time the mind goes off with distraction, being carried away by thoughts, and then again come back to rising, falling, and then again being distracted again, not continuous in the mindfulness. It is refined form of Appamāda. There are so much to explain, but as the time is quite up, I will continue to explain how one should be reporting, because tomorrow the interview, so I would like to explain briefly how one should report systematically. So when the yogi comes to interview, one should start reporting about sitting meditation. How long yogi can sit? If the yogi can sit 45 minutes or 1 hour. And what primary object yogi was noting? Rising, falling, for example. And yogi should describe if yogi can note the primary object, rising, falling, precisely, concurrently. If the yogi can note rising, falling, precisely, concurrently, what the yogi come to know of the object? There are 3 things to report: arising of the object, how you know, what you come to know. For example, rising, I noted as rising. When I noted rising, I just know it just as rising, or I just know it just the form or shape of the abdomen, or I just come to know the manner of moving, or the nature such as stiffness or tension. When noting falling arise, I note it as falling. When I noted falling, I just be aware of the form of the abdomen falling, or just the manner of falling, or the nature such as relaxation or softness. In this way, I was noting rising, falling for 5 times. When my mind wander off, I noted wandering. When the wandering stopped, I go back to rising, falling. Oh, this is just an example how the yogi should report systematically. First, you describe how long you were sitting, whether you can note the primary object. If you are able to note the primary object, rising, falling, what you come to know. Is it the form or shape of the abdomen? Is it just the manner of rising or falling? Or is it nature such as stiffness or tension or relaxation? If you haven't noticed anything, just say that you are noting rising, falling. You just be aware of rising, falling. So in this way, please start with the primary object first. If you have been noting sitting, touching as the primary object, you have to say sitting, I noted as sitting. When I noted sitting, I notice stiffness or tension. So in this way, if you are noting sitting, what you come to know when you note sitting? Is it the form or shape of the body? Or it's just the manner of sitting? Or is it the nature such as stiffness or tension or hardness? What it is that you come to know. Touching, when you noted touching, what is it that you come to know? Is it the warmth? Is it the hardness? Or what it is? In this way, 3 points you need to report. What object you are noting, how you note, what you know of the object that has been noted. And you should describe how long you can keep the mind on the primary object continuously without gaps or without thoughts in between. It's just an estimate whether you can keep the mind on the primary object. Is it 5 times? Is it 10 times? Is it 1 minute? You can note in a stretch without gaps in between. And after that, what object arose? Is it the wandering mind? If it is the wandering mind, if you are able to notice it right away or not. If you note it as wandering, what happened? Did the wandering go away? Did the wandering continue or what? And whether you are able to go back to the primary object. And when pain arises, if you are able to note pain, what kind of pain it is? Whether the pain is heat pain, stiff pain, stabbing pain, or what pain? And when you note pain, what happened? What kind of pain it is? What happened to the pain? Did the pain stay? Did the pain increase or decrease or stop or disappear? What happened when you note the object? In this way, you should describe what object you are noting, what kind of, what nature you come to notice, and what happened when you noted it. So in this way, choose the best sit to report and report short to the point so that it will save time. It will not keep other yogi waiting. Please report precisely, short to the point so that it will be easier to give advice. Yogi has to help the teacher by giving a report that is precise, short to the point, and so that the teacher can give the appropriate advice. In this way, the yogi has to help the teacher, teacher has to help the yogis to correct or give the advice so that yogi can practice properly. And reporting about walking meditation, First part of the walking, if you are walking right, left, if you can keep the mind on the object right, left, lifting, placing, moving, placing. When lifting, what do you come to know? Is it the form or shape of the foot? Is it the manner of lifting? Or is it the nature such as lightness? When moving the foot, what you come to know? Is it the form or shape of the foot? Is it just the manner of moving? Or is it the nature such as pushing or movement? When dropping the foot, what do you notice? Is it the form or shape of the foot? Is it the manner of dropping? Or is it the nature such as heaviness? So in this way, you have to report the object, how you note, what you come to know. So in this way, yogi has to report about sitting meditation, walking meditation, and daily practice. So the time is up. I'm sorry taking a lot of time for today. So may you all be able to practice smoothly so that you'll be able to discern the nature, the characteristic of the object that you are noting. May your practice be smooth until you attain your goal in meditation practice.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.